Hey kings and queens, hey guys and goddesses. I'm your host, Venus Goddess, and you are now tuned into the Goddess Sanctuary. Here, this is a safe space for all kings and queens and everyone in between. This podcast is focused on the healing, growth, and support of all Black kings and queens because we need it. Where we will be discussing love, sex, relationships, and of course, self-love. Self-love, yes. Today's topic is going to be a self-love topic. To be quite honest with you, we're discussing who is the first person who affected your self-esteem. And the follow-up question behind that would be, what does healthy self-esteem look like? Okay, now this is something that I feel is such an important topic. I often get asked about how I encourage myself. How is my self-esteem so high? I don't know. I get asked that quite often. So let's just go ahead and just let's smooth it on out with the music a little bit. Smooth it on out with the music a little bit. Smooth it on out, baby. Let's smooth it on out. So let's just start off by discussing what exactly self-esteem is, right? Because if we don't know what we're talking about, we can't even go into it. So self-esteem is the confidence in one's own worth and ability. The confidence of one's own worth and ability. Now, looking into how self-esteem is affected, whether it's a negative or positive way, your self-esteem can be affected. And drawing into the first person who affects your self-esteem are your parents, your mom, your dad. These are the first people who have access to your self-esteem, have access to you in actually probably the only way that is so unique where no one else can probably have access to you in such a way because they were the first to affect your self-esteem, right? And a lot of times we deal with issues with self-esteem because we haven't healed from a lot of pain that we have gone through as children affecting our self-esteem. For example, what are some key things that parents have done or do that affect people's self-esteem or children's self-esteem is having to do with, let's say for some key things, shame, fear, anger, using words in degrading ways. These things all affect our self-esteem in a very, 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 very potent way. To shame a child, okay? Yeah, that deals with the humiliation. That can really affect a child long term. That's why we have a lot of adult people who have a lot of unhealed things, a lot of unhealed childhood issues, and these things are really drastic. They can be very drastic on your mental state, affect your life currently, affect your relationships currently. And, it's important to identify these things because you don't want to have to be in a position that you have unhealed with self-esteem issues that you are now going to pass down to your children, or you have affected your own children's self-esteem based on your own inequities and behaviors that you experienced from your childhood. We don't have to make this a generational curse thing. We can end that right where you stand right now, here in this space and time right now. We're not perfect. Our parents are not perfect, but we can aim to make it our duty to heal from our own pain, heal from our own trauma, heal from what our parents have said to us, whether positive or negative, because if it's, self-esteem goes both ways. So there are people who have parents who have instilled very good things into them, encouragement, positive words, positive affirmation that have affected their self-esteem in a positive way. So we have to look at both aspects of it. But majority of us, because we go, especially as Black men and women, we have gone through generational trauma like no other. Okay. And because we've gone through these things, we have things that are ingrained into our DNA that are traumas that have been unhealed. So then we have a lot of adult children walking around trying to play adults' emotions, which they are not. Let's be honest here. There's a lot of adults who are just in adult bodies because they've grown up physically, but their heart and their maturity is that of a child. And that has to do a lot with how we're able to heal, how we're able to grow from those understandings. What things have still made a long-term effect on our lives. So it's very, very important to get a grip on that before it goes too far with your children. You don't want them to have to deal with the same things that you dealt with based on your fears, based on your misunderstandings, based on what makes you feel weak. We want to give our children the best fighting chance they have so that they can have better for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And the best way we can do that is if we're taking care of ourselves, if we're going to those dark places and healing from them. So what I want to go over is, what does self-esteem in its unhealthy state look like, and self-esteem in healthy look like, right? So just a few traits that you would normally affiliate unhealthy self-esteem. That could be fatigue, being tired all the time. Yes. Having unhealthy self-esteem affects how you feel in every way. Physically, mentally, emotionally, even sexually. This affects you all in all bounds. So having extreme excessive fatigue where you don't want to do anything, that can definitely be an aspect that self-esteem can affect. Anxiety, okay? Depression, being overcritical of yourself and others. That's the key. Not just yourself, but overcritical of yourself and others. Even if you inadvertently do it, you're still doing it. You know, when you sit there and judge someone based on something you feel for yourself you would not do, or you would not involve yourself in, or you feel you have in your thoughts a better tactic on tackling something, but you are aggressive and reinforcing maybe a negative connotation of how you handle someone based on how you feel about it, and being very critical about what they do and how they're doing it, when it's just a reflection of who you are, a reflection of how you feel. It has nothing to really do with them. You're being overcritical of you and that person. That shows unhealthy self-esteem. Not being able to speak up for yourself. That's a big one. That's a big one. It's not always easy for people to speak up for themselves. It's not always the most forthcoming thing for everyone, because some people are shy. Some people may not be shy, but depending on who's talking to them, they may live in such a fear from trauma that they're scared to say and speak their truth. And that is very unhealthy, because you being your authentic self is the only way you should be. It's the only place you should be. It's the only place you should reside. People say where the money reside. Okay, being yourself is where you should always reside. where you always reside, where you always reside, where you always reside, that's where you should always reside. And it's powerful. Knowing how to speak up for yourself and doing it thoroughly is very powerful. It is empowering. So we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. And setting no boundaries. Oh gosh. Setting no boundaries. I have to be real with you. This shit right here, it is such a sign of lack there of self-love, lack there of self-care, lack there of self-esteem. You not being able to set boundaries. Everyone should have boundaries for friendships, for work environments, for relationships, for family. There should be boundaries for everything. Everything. Because if you don't have boundaries, you're not able to set up your own self-care time. You're not able to set up your own space of things and space for your time, for your mental health and healing. Boundaries. Boundaries. We've always been in places in our lives where we have times where we have been exposed to different things, where people have bluntly crossed boundaries. And if you don't even know your boundary, how you'll know it's something crossing your boundary is because how uncomfortable it makes you feel when someone is doing it. How it's so uneasy, unsettling. It might make you turn your stomach. Like, boundaries. Very important. Very important. You need to have a boundary for how long you talk to people. If it's occupying your time in a way, your time should be boundaries on your time. You have to set these boundaries or you will lose yourself. They'll take you down the hole that you don't want to go down, and that is going to be very difficult to get up out of. So setting those boundaries are very, very important. Setting those boundaries are very, very important. Let's see. Now, some traits of healthy self-esteem. I'm feeling turned up, guys. Don't mind me. Some boundaries, I apologize. Some healthy self-esteem traits. Assertiveness for expressing your needs and your wants. Assertiveness in expressing your needs and your wants. You should be able to verbally describe exactly what you need and want in any given situation. Now, depending on the situation is depending how you handle that conversation. Now, if you're in a corporate setting, there's a way that you speak. There's a way that you are able to communicate in that setting that can get your point across without having to cross bounds that will cause friction with your profession. So, those, per my last email, oh man, can we go over this one more time? Can we have can we speak on this again? Let's retouch the basis of what we're talking, the nature we're talking about. Okay, this is what I'm needing. Okay, in order for me to be efficient in what I'm doing, I'm going to need A, B, and C so that I can do the best job for this position. That's the work environment. Your personal life, depending on how you talk, me, I'm a kind of person, I'm like, look, I don't got time for the shit. I don't. I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I'm gonna need for me to be healthy. If you can respect my time and my space, then it's gonna be okay for you to leave. I'm not even upset. It's okay, and I respect it. I respect that you don't want to give me boundaries in space. I respect that. That's real shit. That's even having a respect enough for someone to be like, I respect that you don't even want to give me boundary in space, but let me tell you something, I'm going to take that. I have no choice because I will always come first. My boundaries, my space will always come first. So being assertive in that and not, you don't have to be rude, But being assertive and saying, standing your ground, yeah, I need my boundaries. Yeah, I need my space. This is what's required. That's it. Let's see. Being able to form and secure and honest relationships. Being able to form secure and honest relationships with people. Now, this doesn't always have to be personal, actual, a relationship, but this can be a relationship with a person. This can be other friendships. This can be business partnerships. Being able to establish those things and it be healthy and it be honest and it can be transparent and it's secure. So everybody knows their role in that relationship, right? That you are transparent in how you move with the individual. Because if you're transparent, you'll never have to hide anything. That's a form of high self-esteem. That's a form of healthy self-esteem, to being able to know that you can say, hey, this is what the situation is. This is how it's going. I like your truth. Thank you for your truth. This is my truth. This is how this is going to work. If we collab in this way, you know, if you present this to the table, if I present this to the table, and how we can mesh that together. Oh, that's not going to work. Okay, let's try this. But I'm being open, honest, and transparent. So we both are here seeing things at the same playing ground. Very important. Very, very, very important. Having confidence in accepting and valuing yourself. Accepting and valuing yourself. I'll say this again. Accepting and valuing yourself. Self-acceptance is so, so important. I don't care what anyone has ever told you about yourself, has ever made you feel lack thereof, has ever made you feel that any kind of thing that's nerdy or geeky or it's athletic, anything that someone could probe at you to have anything to say against you, don't let that feed you. Have that confidence in yourself. Have that confidence. I'll say for my example, someone may say that because I do like video games, that's kind of corny. Okay, I grew up where I play video games in my household. That's something I enjoy. I don't do it often, but that's something I enjoy. So yeah, I'm kind of quirky sometimes. I'm eccentric. I don't care. I'm aggressive. I'm effeminate. I'm divine feminine, baby. I attend to all aspects of me. The saints, real godly like energy, positive vibrations, the warrior who would pull your throat out your neck if you play with her. And the harlot, the vixen. I take care of her too. This all encompasses the divine feminine. And I'm not ashamed of any aspect of me. And I'm unapologetic about any aspect of me. I'll say this for myself, since I was a child, I had always been picked on, always been talked about. Whether I was told I looked like Shrek, I was talked about my last name being gay, you know, because I was always chunky and plus size, I didn't have the finest clothes. I was always picked on and chastised. But I always had to find the strength within myself. It wasn't always easy, but I always had to find confidence. What is something I do like about myself, even when I didn't feel my best? Sometimes you have to take that, what you feel, and amplify it and grow yourself. It takes that sometimes. But know that you are valued. Know that there's a niche for you. Know that everything that you do is divine. Of course, if you have things that are in balance, you are supposed to work on those things, but knowing that your whole being as truly who you are, truly your interests, you are valued. You are important. You have a place in this world. Be that. Understand that. It's very important. And overall, in that flip side, knowing how to set your boundaries. That's healthy. Knowing how to set your boundaries. Many people who know me in my personal life, I'm the type of person that people love me and I love people. I don't always like people. I'm kind of a social, antisocial, introvert, extrovert. I'm a little bit of both. So I might go and turn up and have a good time, and people love to be around me, but then you won't hear from me for 3 months. Boundaries. I'll have a good time with you, have a great time. But then if I have to gear in and center myself, do my meditation, study more into my spiritual walk, I'll take that time and I'm not apologetic for it. It's plenty of times my best friends or people who are closest to me don't hear from me for 2-3 weeks. But they know that's because I'm taking the time to recharge, pour into myself all that I give out. And that's okay. And actually learning within yourself how to find that balance so that you don't go off where you're maybe off the grid for a whole 3 months, but where you're able to pace yourself and able to move through that action simultaneously while maintaining connections with others. Because we are all connected. We all do need each other. Us divine feminists, us divine masters, we all need each other. We need each other in this world. We need each other in this processing of just learning and growing and figuring out who we really are and how we show up in the world. This is important stuff. This is important stuff, guys. Those boundaries, man. Boundaries is something different. It's really important. You know, the boundaries to take time out for yourself. That's a boundary. That's not a selfish thing. People get this misconception that if I am taking self-care for me, that I'm being selfish. No. That is not selfish. That is not selfish. That's actually selfless. Because if you're not taking that time out for yourself, if you're not taking time out for your mind, your soul, your spirit, your whole being, for your healing every day, and it should be done every day, because sometimes it gets blurry and it's not done every day. Okay, I understand that, but it should be done every day, even if it's 10 minutes of your own time. 24 hours belongs to you. Your 24 hours belongs to you, and if it doesn't belong to you, there's a big fucking problem. You choose what you do with your 24 hours. If you can sit there and scratch your ass, if you can sit there and go on somebody's time clock and work an 8-hour shift, do you hear what I'm saying? If you can sit there and sacrifice your time for other people, if you can sit in traffic for 2 hours, this is serious, guys, because this shit right here, and I'm getting real passionate about it because so many people don't know how to maintain boundaries. Because society in the world, a lot of times people will guilt trip you and make you feel that you having boundaries is a problem. No. It's a problem for their comfortability. It don't got nothing to do with you. Setting those boundaries is key. And people will respect you more because then they'll know how to deal with you. If you don't teach people how to deal with you, they'll treat you and deal with you in any kind of way and fashion. And we're not having that. All 2021, all 2022, all 2023, and so on. We're not having that. We're not accepting that anymore. We're moving in a way that's going to be efficient for our self-esteem. It's going to be efficient for our hearts. It's going to be efficient for our soul. It's going to be efficient for our growth. Be efficient for our stability. That's all the only way we should be moving at this point. I mean, look at Corona. Look at the life that we have drastically had to adjust to and change. Okay, we had no choice. You should be treating your self-esteem. You should be treating your boundaries like you have no choice but to have boundaries. Because if you don't have those, you're not going to be able to function. You're not going to be good for nobody. You think you're helping somebody by not taking care of yourself? How much more you think you could help somebody when you're taking care of yourself? When you take care of yourself, you could help somebody just by taking care of yourself and not doing anything personally for them. That taking care of yourself can literally inspire someone. That literally can encourage someone. Okay? So this is important. And I know I'm repetitive in how I speak, but it's important. I really, really feel passionate about that because I've been in a place where I remember not having boundaries. Meanwhile, other people's had boundaries. And I didn't have boundaries. So people knew how to step over that line. And once you let someone slide on your boundaries, they ask if they can ice skate. And bitch, I know it's a lot of snow out here, but you're not about to ice skate all over me. That you won't do. Now, in all of this, I just hope that everyone can take the time out to figure out what past things have hurt them in their lives that affected their self-esteem. What things did your mom say to you that affects your self-esteem? What things did your father say to you that affects your self-esteem? Whether it's positive or negative, make a list. Make a list of positives and the negatives. Whether you need to have a conversation with them or whether it's something that you're going to sit down and evaluate yourself. Evaluate those things. What were the things that they affected you? What was said? How was it said? What was the intention behind it? And what did you feel afterward? Go through that so you can start healing and start forgiving yourself for even not having boundaries. Forgive yourself for not having self-confidence. Forgive yourself for those times that you had fatigue, anxiety, depression behind what someone else thought or put on you to affect how you feel about you. Baby, you are important. Baby, you will forever be important. You are your ancestors' wildest dreams. And you should be living that out in all your truth, all your splendor. I thank you guys for tuning in with me. And of course, stay positive, stay encouraged, stay empowered, and stay true to the discovery of your authentic self. I love you guys. And thank you for tuning in with me. And I hope you guys enjoyed my video montage from last week's show, which was for the Valentine's Day special. The singles out there, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Whoever enjoyed it, doesn't matter. But specifically, it was for singles, grown and sexy singles. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I also want to shout out, big time shout out to my podcast homies and my co-hosts at Post of the Streets. We've been doing some big things. We're making some big movements. And you guys, I love you guys. Urban Miracle, Nick, C Butter. I thank you guys for even having me on the platform and me being the lady of the house. I enjoy you guys, and we're gonna keep working and keep bringing the hot heat. We're gonna keep doing our thing. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Love you.